the coup d'etat in Guinea-Bissau on the 26th of November, and the attempted coup d'etat in Benin that was averted on the 7th of December add to an already worrying general trend of destabilization of regional governance and destabilization of democratic practices. France condemns any attempt to seize power by force and supports the mediation efforts carried out by the African Union and by the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, in Guinea-Bissau. African solutions to African problems does not mean that this council is indifferent to Africa. We support the efforts of this council to help regional organizations to support the member states of that region. My country welcomes the rapid, decisive action of ECOWAS in Benin to ensure respect for constitutional order and to protect institutions. In the face of this trend of destabilization, the Council has a responsibility to on behalf of this peace and stability, we have the responsibility to condemn unequivocally attempts at coup d'etat, to stand on the side of constitutional stability and good governance, and to discourage opportunistic temptations at the stable.
All right. So that was one of the ministers of war or military in France. And so basically, and to the audience as well. So basically what has happened is that, of course, over the last 2 years, actually the last 3 years, 4 years, Africa, a lot of African countries have been basically cleansing themselves of European and Western control and influence. Countries such as Niger, Benin, and so forth and so forth, Burkina Faso and more, even Ghana or whatever, they've replaced their English and French languages to their native languages. South Africa, they've ran all the white farmers out. They've got rid of the banking systems that was ruled by the franc and the dollar. And so what is happening is that for the people that don't know, France is a state that is a state in other countries that's considered a nation. So over here it's a state, but it's considered a nation. They have no natural resources. They're a landlocked country, so which means that they can never sleep. And especially with the negative and evil ruling and conquering that they've done, they can never get rest. At least America has a lot of natural defenses. You know, the average country that can hurt us is 2,000, 3,000 miles away from us, which means they have to have missiles that can reach us. Also, we're a nation that's heavily armed. When I mean nation that's heavily armed, I mean the citizens. And we're the only country, we're the most armed country of citizens in the world. So, so even if they got past all the military defenses, by the time they get to us, they would already be depleted, and then we kill their ass. So they would never win a war against us, okay? Because we got arms. Billy and Lil Pokey and Darrell, they all got guns. And I'm talking about the ghetto nigga and the educated nigga got guns. So
and the redneck got guns.
And the rednecks. So with that being said, what is your thoughts on France attempting to promote a war-selling fake narratives in 2025? And what do you think this is going to go? What is going to be the difference this time? Because the nations that have already stuck together and said that if you come at any one of us, we're going to fight. And then they have Russia backing them up, and Russia has also backed them, and China, who's doing business with them, has also backed them. So basically, what I'm saying is that if France was to attack these countries, it could literally start a world war. So what's y'all thoughts on this?
Which almost happened when it came down to the World War. It almost happened. It was just recent that almost happened, but it wouldn't be in the news and in the national news or things like that actually attempting to occur. Yeah, it can happen, but as far as arms, Russia and America go neck and neck when it comes down to certain things. So that's a difficult topic to even discuss, like, because if Russia's involved, it is some kind of threat to America when it comes down to certain things. But thankfully, Trump is like in cahoots with Russia, so when it comes down to that, I don't think that Russia would harm America in that way. But any other country, it could be harmful, it could be dangerous to a certain extent, speaking
Well,
from military
I'm
wise.
gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. I don't. America may be hard to beat, like I said, but I don't think I could ever fix my mouth to say that we can't get fought on. We can.
Oh yeah, it's wide open. It's
So
always wide. It's wide
yeah,
open
it ain't.
because
Yeah,
look at past experiences with terror attacks and all this stuff that we're wide open. And when you think about Americans get comfortable real easily, and we get comfortable more easily than other nations. Because other nations are always on guard when it comes to that type of attack, because they're always dealing with that type of attack.
got
But as far as after that happened, we have to deal with the aftermath of an attack to actually get ready. And it wouldn't take long for us to get ready for that type of thing. King, I know you can relate. It wouldn't take long for us to get ready for those type of attacks. But at the same time, you know, it's a difficult topic for as going to war
Well,
with another country.
it's not a difficult topic. We're talking about it.
I mean, I'm just saying on my end,
Okay,
actually,
understood. Okay, yeah,
being
got
involved in certain
you.
things
Got
like that, it is
you. I
difficult
got you. Okay. Well, this is
because,
what we're gonna do. First, let me read the shout out to Azrael. Forgive me if I mess your name on my brother. If I mess it up, please correct me in the chat. At Azrael, he say France is on the verge of going bankrupt because they can't leech off African countries anymore. And you're exactly right. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to have this discussion, because that's why I asked the question, what do you think is going to be different about this if they attempt, to attack one of these countries? Because Africa's running out of money. Africa is hurting right now. I mean, not Africa, France.
Mm-hmm.
And do you want to go, Fantastic?
Fantastic. You want to go? What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, man. Nobody's getting involved in this. It's like you said, I don't know if for sure whoever they trying to beef with or whoever they trying to force it already has a contract with China, but China's already started taking the resources out of Africa. And no, there's way too many other things going on for anybody to get involved with this from a NATO standpoint. So if they try to do this, it'll just be them on their own. But it's pretty much just a bluff because they know nobody's behind them with it. And furthermore, it's just, again, that's your problem. That's something you got to fix. So the whole world with the Ukraine stuff still going on, and who knows what the hell's going on with China and Russia. Nobody's going to, whatever they got going on, they got to take that L financially. But France does have some sort of military. So if you can't beat a fucking African coup, what you do?
Well, that's the thing. They got Russia backing them up. They got some of those countries got Russia backing them up, and some of those countries that have rid themselves of the West have China behind them.
Yeah.
And let's be real. If France if France go to war with anybody, America's gonna give them some type of assistance. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
but that's the thing. But that's the thing to go off. That's the thing to segue off of what Fantastic is saying is that they are standing kind of in the water by themselves because even on the bestest relationships, on the bestest days, France is still treated like the little brother that don't listen sometimes. And sometimes the little brother France does things out of haste, and they do have the support of big bro America. They do have the support, but on this one, being that it is dealing with an African country, it's gonna be some sort of hesitance before America really jumps in forthright in a sense of that. Yeah, France, they're just like the commenter said, they're scrambling right now because they are losing the resources in their bank that they've been using for the last 400 or 500 years. And so this is a good thing. This is awesome. And as far as Russia, yeah, Trump does have a relationship with Putin, but Putin is Putin and Trump is Trump. Putin runs an entire country that he will do whatever he needs to do. It doesn't have any kind of adherence to what Trump is and all that. Yeah, they have a relationship because if that was the case, the Ukraine thing would be done right now. If that was the case, but that's not what the case is. Like,
Trump isn't giving a fuck about Ukraine, and that's one thing we do know.
Well, I don't want to get into like the whole what Trump gives a fuck about, whatever. This and that take away from the France situation in African countries. African countries that are standing up and doing their thing, they are a visible, viable, real threat to these countries, and I'm glad these European countries, and I'm glad that it happens that way, and I'm glad that Russia and those countries are there to kind of back them in a sense of right now. But I'm still like understanding the global impact it could be where America could jump in. But I think I'm leaning more towards on Fantastic side of saying like there's still a bunch of long steps before we get to that point.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's one of the things that, you know, in situations like this where we have Africa emerging and running colonialism out, to me, it's definitely a good thing that we don't have liberal leadership in office because they would definitely add fuel to the fire. And whereas you have Trump actually understands, you know, geopoliticalism because he understands that, you know, the people here, the blacks here, we have a bond with them, even though it's not a political bond. You know, he understands our spiritual connection. He understands our historical connection. And so Trump's not going to mess with that. You know what I'm saying? I notice, if you notice, Trump is out here ready to, if anything, Trump is getting into it with more white countries than black countries and than African countries. Shit, hell. You know what I'm saying? Shit, Ukraine ain't no black country. Shit.
Yeah, the major focus right now is Venezuela. They're trying to get access to the oil down there. So they definitely don't have any gains or what's the name. Trump is not trying to do anything that's going to take away more money, more resources, and more military assets from America specifically.
That's true. That is exactly true. Yeah.